Hey, what's up everybody? Today, I'll be presenting to you our AP Government Forever project. We created a website that allows a user to learn everything they need to know about the budget. This product will be great for anyone looking to master the budget content on the AP Gov exam. This over here is an outline of the budgeting process schedule. Inside this website, we have articles that we have written. Every time the user reads an article, it increments this progress bar over here by 20%. Once the bar reaches 100%, a play button will appear, allowing the user to play our final game that we have created about the budgeting process. With that out of the way, let's move on to step 1. In here, we discuss basic information about the budget. The budget is a document that helps the government allocate money to things it needs to allocate money to. The deficit is a difference between how much the government makes and how much the government spends. So the amount of money the government spends are called expenditures, and the amount of money that the government makes are called revenues. The government earns its revenue through a variety of different ways, but if the expenditures are greater than the revenues, then the government goes into debt, and collectively the amount of debt that the U.S. is in is called the federal debt. With this out, we will then exit out of the article, and notice here the progress bar is filled up by 20%. If I go ahead and click the article again, the progress bar stays at 20%, as we have already read this article. With that being said, let's move on to step 2. In this section, we will discuss the general history of the President and the OMB. In World War I, the U.S. has accumulated a lot of debt. Because of this, Congress passed the Budget and Accounting Act to get the President to propose a budget to Congress. Moving on to step 3. This section discusses the role of the President and the OMB in deciding the budget. The OMB goes to each agency and gathers their projections on how much they'll need. Then, the OMB and President will create guidelines. Following that are hearings from the agencies. Then, proposal is submitted to Congress. Inside step 4, we talk about the history of Congress's role in the budget. Before 1974, Congress had no schedule, so they passed the Impoundment Act, giving Congress a fixed schedule. They also established the Congressional Budget Office. Finally, onto the last step. In here, we discuss Congress' role in the budget. The House receives the President's budget proposal and passes a budget resolution. The Senate does the same. If there are differences, a joint committee will resolve them. Appropriation committees will draft appropriation bills that are then voted on each House. Conference committees follow in order to reconcile the bills, and then if the bill is successful, it will then go to the President for signature and approval for the next fiscal year, thereby ending the budget process for that fiscal year and process if the President signs the budget. If it doesn't sign, then more things happen. So now that we have finished reading all 5 articles, we can now play the game. In the game, the user is able to draft a custom budget, being able to use sliders to determine how much money goes in each budget item. Each one value is equivalent to roughly $1 billion. The user must be careful because they are penalized for a budget that would cause debt, but also penalized for not including enough items that might be needed. So, I will just continue going ahead and I think home security is pretty important. Oh, student security is later how obviously education is pretty important. Yep, this is pretty important. So, when the user thinks that they have found a good balance in the budget, they can then send it to Congress for approval. The goal is to get a majority of the senators' vote. Due to visibility issues, there are not 100 senators, but it still moderately represents the decision process. The game allows the user to understand the process of apportioning money for the budget. While it's difficult for a game to well represent the convoluted process of the budget, the game provides an outline for the process of budget creation. Its difficulty represents the difficulty of creating and actually getting a budget approved. It shows why incrementalism tends to be the ideology followed when drafting and creating a budget.